to the second Mixed Box monthly video. This is for November 2023, and this month we are going to be looking at Polly's Brewing Company, who are based in Mold in Flintshire, North Wales. So yes, last month we had Elgood's, and this month we're trying Polly's. So Polly's, I have had one or two of their beers before. They've had beers on sale at Creative Juices and Anchor Tap and Bottle, which are two local tap rooms, bars. And yes, I've only had, say, 2 or 3 of their beers, and the ones I've had have been excellent. So I was really keen to try the range. And on a Facebook group, which one escapes me, someone posted that they were having a sale on. So I went a bit mad and brought a hell of a lot of beers from them. So I won't be covering all the beers I bought, because this video would take me forever to do. I did buy a lot. In fact, the big box you see at the beginning of the video in the titles is the box I brought from them on the train. So yes, I'm just going to be focusing on their essentials range, which I think will just give me the bare bones of what they have to offer, and I'll enjoy the rest off camera, and I'm sure I will enjoy them. So yes, I'll give you a quick history lesson about them. So established in 2018 as a 2-man operation working out of a converted stable on a rickety wood-bound brew kit. We have rapidly grown since day one to where we find ourselves today, in a brewery 12 times the size of our original brew space, capable of brewing up to 8 times a week, looking after the livelihoods of 14 incredibly talented team members. From these humble beginnings, our mantra has always remained the same: never stop improving. We want to produce the best beer we possibly can and make Polly's the best place to work for our incredible team, which is a very good manifesto, ethos, whatever you want to call it. So yes, I'm going to try and stop waffling now about the introduction and get on with tasting the beers. I was quite aware that my first video was 45 minutes long, so I'm trying to shorten it. So yes, I'll make my review short and snappy hopefully now, and try and ramble a little bit less. So yes, we'll get on to the first one when I go and pick it. So before we dive into the first one, I thought it was probably a good idea to tell you what 12 I'm going to try. So first off is Florette, a pale ale at 4.5%, Rosebud, an IPA at 5.9%, Little Petal, a Westie at 5.4%, Patternist, an IPA at 6.6%, a Spur, an IPA at 7.2%, Oh My, Citra and Sabro Pale at 5.8%, Rosa, a Deeper at 8.5%, White Oak, a Westie again at 6.9%, Nelson Sauvignon Hop Studio, a double IPA at 7.8%, Gold Room, a Pale Ale at 5.6%, Myla, an Indian Pale Ale at 6.3%, Club Millennial, a Pale at 5.3%. So those are the ones I'm going to try. And we're diving in with Florette from Polly's first. Already poured it. Let's say, lovely can. Very floral looking. I have had this before. I had this last year at a beer festival at All Saints Church in Croxley, run by Anchor Tap and Bottle. So I had draft. So this is tinned, obviously. So as I say, hazy, yellow, amber colour, yellowish. Sort of soft fruit nose, peachy. Yes, it's very easy to drink. A very soft sort of beer. Sort of very mellow notes. What does the can say? Does the can say anything? Azaka, Citra and Simcoe. So yes, Lots of citrusy notes there. 4.5%, as I said. No details, but yeah, nice can. Azaka, Simcoe, and Citra, I said, didn't I? Yes, it's a very easy drinking hazy pale beer. I have called it a pale ale rather than IPA, which is probably a good thing. It doesn't have the IPA sort of whack that you should get. Obviously, marketing purposes, a lot of people call beers IPAs and they're really not. I had a beer yesterday called Ghastly Ghouls from Green King. They sold it as a premium bitter, but 100% it was a mild. But they didn't call it a mild because milds don't sell. There's still a stigma attached to milds, sadly. So they called it premium bitter, but it was a mild because it tastes like a mild. Anyway, going back to the beer in hand. It's just an easy drinking pale. Some nice sort of juicy citrus notes. Nothing overly bitter either. Yeah, I mean it's very flavoursome. Nothing particularly out this world, but you know it's just a very good hoppy pale easy drinker. Sessionable sort of. Where does sessionable become sessionable? Anyway, there we go. Tasty, inoffensive, citrusy, hoppy, fruity, a mellow, bitter finish. So on to the next beer, which is Polly's Rosebud, a 5.9% IPA. Again, a very nice floral can, very much like my bow tie is a floral one today. I found all the bump on the internet, so let's have a read of that. Our flagship core beer, the style we're most well known for and what we do best. Rosebud is an IPA brewed in the New England style, the most popular variant of the style in the world. We've hopped this beer with the freshest Citra, Galaxy and Mosaic and Simcoe to create a certified tropical punch bowl flavour, strong enough to retain all that incredible flavour and mouthfeel, but sessionable enough to do something. Still smash pints off, there we go. Right, as you can see, it's a little bit darker than the Florette, but still quite a sort of yellowy colour, hint of orange. Tropical fruity soft nose. That's much more like it. Yes, that's better than Florette. It's a beer which has presence. So the mouthfeel is good. It's a sort of a medium mouthfeel. It sort of does coat your mouth a bit, so that's pretty much bang on. It has a creamy sweetness to it, like a malty creamy sweetness, and then a nice sort of tropical hop flavour, which has enough bitterness to balance the sweetness, and sort of bittersweet finish. That's very good. The creaminess is just right, just to take the edge off the hops. Hop flavour is sort of citrusy and tropical. Hint of like passion fruit, guava, mango, orange, that sort of thing, you know. That's a generalised tropical fruity hop note. That is very pleasant. I probably disagree with them when they say you could smash pints of it. I think one's probably enough, perhaps two at a push. First of all, the strength, and second of all, I think the flavour would get a bit monotonous after one. I mean, it's very pleasant, but yeah, there's only so much sweet, strong, hoppy tropicalness you can take, I think, in my opinion. But good. A solid beer anyway. So very pleasant. So the last one for this session is Little Petal, which is a West Coast Pale at 5.4%. Again, another lovely floral can. Yeah, Westies, I fell out, well, never used to like them. And now I do. So there we go. Let me see the bump it says about this one, Little Petal. While we're very much a brewery that produces modern hop-forward beer, sometimes you have to look back to old school and honour the breweries without whom we wouldn't be here today. Little Petal takes a detour from our usual output down the Pacific Highway for a deliciously Moorish West Coast Pale. Clean and crisp resinous bitterness takes the lead here with a classic hop lineup of Cascade and Simcoe. So there we go. Same colour as the others, actually. Sort of very pale yellowy orange. Cheers. Dank hoppiness on the nose. Ooh, that is like an old-fashioned West Coast. That is dank. Dank as you like. Funny word, that, dank. But yes, that is a proper West Coast. Bitter. Lots of bitterness in there. Lots of trains as well. It really does have that piney resinous though. Yes. A hint of sweetness at the forefront when you drink it, but it immediately goes into that resiny, piney, high bitter dankness that you come to expect. I never used to be a fan of particularly highly bittered beers, which is why I never used to like West Coast IPAs, and which is why I've never brewed one. But I find that it's got to a stage with IPAs nowadays, they all become a bit wishy-washy. So something with a bit of balls, like this, is quite welcome to sort of cut through all that sort of soft hoppy stuff that you get. I mean, the soft hoppy stuff is nice, but sometimes you just want to know that you're drinking an IPA. You want to know you're drinking something with bitter hops in, and this fits the bill nicely. I said it's never a style I liked, but nowadays that's bang on. Yeah, dank and bitter, tasty. All good, all good. So onwards, ever onwards, we move on to Patternist, an IPA at 6.6%, El Dorado and Simcoe. Let's read out the description online. The original underrated dark horse of the original three, and back permanently as part of our Icons range. Patternist has gained and continues to carry its own massive cult following thanks to its no-frills El Dorado and Simcoe hop bill, albeit hopped up to the absolute nines, and its ornate tiling artwork garnering amazing feedback. A favourite among the staff here at Polly's, and the beer from the original three that started it all, that we've brewed the most since we launched our Augment range. Expect all kinds of mango, pineapple, jelly tots, no really, with just a hint of resinous pine bursting from this incredible IPA. A hit when we first brewed it, and a surefire hit again with all the techniques we continue to learn since. So there we go. Patternist. It's a bit cold in here, so I might have to switch the fan heater on afterwards. But there we go, big, dank, hazy looking beer. Oh, that is good, yes. What did it say? Pineapple, mango, and jelly tots. Mango and pineapple. Yes, definitely mango and pineapple. Jelly tots, I get what they mean. It's got sort of like that candied fruit flavour, which I suppose couldn't help as jelly tots. It's got a really good mouthfeel as well. You know, it's that slightly heavy flavour, you know, sort of mouthfeel. Lets you know you're drinking a stronger beer. Bursting full of sweet, fruity IPA, hoppy, mango-y, fruity, pineapple-y, fruity flavours. This is actually my first one, so little moments of insanity are natural and not alcohol induced. But yes, there is a little bit of that resinous bitterness that they mentioned, but it is prominently sort of tropical fruit sweetness. But it's very well done. Jolly tasty. Yes, I can taste it a bit more now actually, that back end resinous. Patternist. I think there's a drop more left in the can as well, which is jolly good. Because this glass, unlike the one I was drinking out previously, doesn't hold a full tin. Oh dear. You seem to have got a bit of yeasty crap in there though. Dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Is that yeast? Yes, it looks like yeast. That's curious, isn't it? Yes, it's definitely yeast. Ooh, very unusual. Better be careful drinking the rest of this. So I was spurred on to open another can up. This is Spur. Oh, I'm so funny. 7.2% Azacca Citra Simcoe. Goes in the bin. Right. Spur, 7.2%. Spur has always been a massive in-house favourite here at Polly's, and the proof is in the pudding. The hop bill of Azacca, Citra and Simcoe bounces with umbongo levels of tropical flavour. Christ, you remember that umbongo? Umbongo living in the Congo. Anyway. Tropical flavour featuring a full-on fruit salad of papaya, peach, tangerine and mango on both the nose and flavour. The scrappy medium charred of the original Augment Trio, a nightmare to can on its first go around in 2019 on the back of how highly hopped it was. We've tamed this awesome beast and brought it into our Icons range as a permanent fixture. Slathered with our bespoke in-house LA3 yeast, which is probably the one which dropped into my last glass. For a massive hop suspension, this is a beer that is 100% hazy, dank and juicy. Spur, it's good to have you back for good. Want you back for good. There we go. You see what colour it is, it's that colour. It's ever so slightly thinner mouthfeel than the Patternist I've just had, but you know, still pretty. It's not watery, let's put it that way. It's not thin. Very juicy. Don't forgetting those tropical papaya and mango notes it mentioned. Another very juicy, perfectly tasty hoppy hazy beer from Polly's. I seem to get a feeling all of their beers are going to be hoppy hazy beers. They've obviously found what they're good at and they're rolling with it. And as I said, I've not yet had a bad beer from them. They've all been above the usual, level of hoppy hazy beers. They've all been bangers so far. So hopefully the trend continues, darlings. Yeah, it's got a nice sort of warming feeling in your belly as well from the alcohol. I wouldn't say it tasted boozy, but it's yeah, lots of lovely tropical hop notes in that one. So we've translocated ourselves to the house because it's nice and warm in here. I've got a fire going and it's a bit cold and miserable outside. Anyway, we've translocated ourselves to the house to try this one called Oh My, a 5.8% Citra and Sabro Pale Ale. Yes, as you can hear, I've got the slightest hint of a cold coming on. My voice is a lot gruffer, headachy, phlegm, tickly cough. So yes, feeling a bit crap. It's actually been a few days since I've had any of these Polly's beers. Well, it might be a week or two actually. Anyway, let's read the bump about this one. So our last collaboration before the 2020 lockdown with our super pals over at Big Mountain Brewing, and a surefire cult favourite takes its rightful place as a pale ale showing for our new Icons range. We've revisited this beer several times over its lifespan, and originally our first foray into using everybody's new favourite hype hop Sabro in one of our beers. We're now world weathered in the little quirks and idiosyncrasies of this incredible vitriol. Amplified up to the max, Sabro brings a metric ton of sweet, creamy pineapple and coconut notes before being reeled in by an in-house Polly's favourite in Citra to keep everything balanced. Named for a truly terrible George Takei impression, or was it Takai, or whatever. This beer will literally make you say, oh my. Yes. I'm a bit of a Trekkie. Not the new Trek, but the old Trek. Anyway, here we go. So, yes. Let's dive in. Right, okay. So, still fundamentally very citrusy, I think. Got like quite a sharp, almost limey citrusiness in there. Yeah, it's got a bit of that coconut, pineapple sort of flavour that they say you should get from the Sabro. I have a friend who absolutely hates Sabro hops. He wouldn't like this, which is a shame because it's quite a nice beer. Again, that's excellently done. It's full on juicy. The body has a real presence about it. It's smooth, it's refreshing. It's got a bit of a sort of creamy sweetness, which might get a bit repetitive if you have more than one tin, I think. But there you go. A good bitterness to it as well. Can't fault it. It's another very excellent beer. Very good, very good. Moving on, we have Rosa, which is a double IPA, 8.4%, with Citra, Equinox, Galaxy, Mosaic, and Simcoe. So it's a hell of a lot of different hops in there. Reading the spiel, it's a double IPA, back for good as part of our Icons range, If Galaxy Mosaic IPA was the beer that set off some rumbles for us, then Rosa was the beer that smashed through the glass ceiling and planted us firmly on the map. Gaining near universal praise from drinkers and industry insiders when we first brewed it in 2019 for our UK-wide Augment launch, for all the incredible places our Augment range has branched off into since then, we love coming back to what we feel is the benchmark for our DPIAs, and our brewers certainly get giddy with excitement when they know our headline beer is back on the brew plans, featuring a 5-hop mega lineup of Simcoe, Galaxy, Mosaic, Citra, and Equinox. This beer is sticky, juicy, piney, and dank 100% polys. Right. 8 point whatever it is percent, bloody hell. What's going on there? Okay, so initially it's sort of very sweet and juicy. Very sweet juiciness. But it has a very dank, sort of resiny, piney, bitter finish. Almost slightly vegetationally. Yeah, so yes, sweet, sort of fruity, tropical citrus notes. Quite like a sweet, creamy base as well. And then it's just dank, 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 dank. Dank resin, dank pine. I'll say, for my personal taste, an eatsy weetsy bit too dank, but it's still a very good beer. Yes, a lot of flavours going on there. And I'd say quite a bold sweetness to start off with, and a very bold bitter finish. So final one of this little session is White Oak, a West Coast IPA, 6.9%, Citra, Comet, and Idaho 7. Don't see Comet used very often. I've brewed it once before. Quite orangey, if I seem to remember rightly. Onto the spiel. Those who have followed the brewery long enough will know that above all else, we love to pay homage to the OG craft titans here at Polly's HQ. Without these pioneers from the US and the first wave torch bearers of the UK craft beer movement, we almost certainly would not exist as we know it today. And in honour of those incredible breweries, we paid our respects with White Oak, a thoroughly modern West Coast IPA. Letting Citra and Comet take the lead on this one, we've packed this beer with a metric ton of big, brash, piney, resinous notes for a light sprinkling of Idaho 7, which brings a peachy sweetness to keep things in line. Fermented out with USO 5 and with just a light amount of haze, this is an IPA that looks back to the past with 1 foot firmly in the present. So there we go. As I say, it's not quite as hazy as the previous ones. Oh, that's nice. It's a lighter mouthfeel than some of the other ones, but it seems to work quite nicely with this beer. It's very, very smooth. So yeah, lots of really juicy orange and citrus notes. There is that sort of dank, resiny, piney, bitter note to it, but there's also soft stone fruit, that peachiness that they mention as well. So it has the high bitterness levels of a Westie, but yeah, there's lots of good, say, orange citrus and peachy, hoppy fruitiness with a good amount of resin and piney, dank bitterness. Very good, very good. White Oak. So I have a little confession to make. The list of beers in the Essentials box I read out earlier was complete bollocks. So basically, Polly's obviously changed the Essentials box as and when they have different beers in stock. So we followed it pretty much up until this beer I'm drinking now, which is the Nelson Sauvignon, which is what I said I was going to have in the previous list. This isn't in my Essentials list. So the next one I need to have is the Wakatu Pale Ale at 5.5%. White Oak we've already had. Then I've got Abstractor to have, Ode to have, then Never, Odd or Even. So this is a Brucey bonus. Hooray. So yeah, Nelson Sauvignon beer. Did pour with a bit of crap in it, sadly. Double IPA at 7.8%. Nice sort of florally can. Brucey bonus. Really is a good showcase for the hop. It has all that usual sort of gooseberry, slightly winey notes. It's got a very good sort of Polly's sort of thickish base to it, malty base. I'll read you out the bump for that particular beer. Through every iteration of our growth over the last demi-decade, one thing has persisted throughout is this brewery's love of hops and how we've born an entire business that now looks after the livelihoods of 14 team members for this love. The Hop Studio felt like a natural extension of this love, showcasing the single most complex, wonderfully diverse ingredient we use in our process, bar none. Named for its founding region in New Zealand and the Sauvignon Blanc grape, Nelson Sauvignon is an incredibly distinctive variety first released back in 2000, and widely described as a perfect summertime hop, possessing strong fruity aromas and flavours of tropical fruit crushed with gooseberries and wine grapes mingled with tangerine and grapefruit. We could only set this hop variety up for a whirl around the Hop Studio merry-go-round for an amped up DIPA. So there we go. As I said, yeah, it's a really good showcase for the hop variety. Nelson Sauvignon was one of the hops I never used to particularly enjoy, but I've found a new appreciation of it. I think it can be quite lovely and complex, if done right. It's quite nice. They've got sort of citrusy notes, sort of that grape, a wine grape and gooseberry. One of the best beers I ever had was that Big Banana lagers, which you did with Cascade and Nelson Sauvignon. That was tip top. This is very nice as well. It's got the the usual base of a Polly's beer, you know, that sort of quite thick, dank hop presence. Really good malty base to it. Sad about the floating debris, but doesn't deteriorate that this beer is very jolly tasty. Ooh. Very nice. So we'll go on to the next one in the actual list I've got here, not my changing list on my phone, because as I said before, they obviously change the Essentials mix box depending on what they've got in stock. Some of the beers I imagine will stay the same, but the rest will change as and when they've got it in. So yes, we'll carry on with the paper list, not the digital changing list. So yes, another Hop Studio next. So moving on after that Brucey bonus interlude, back on track with the Wakatu Pale Ale, 5.5%. Another Hop Studio one. Floral lime, piney and delicate, says the description. We'll read out the bump. Same old bollocks about the Hop Studio. Whilst an elder statesman of the New Zealand hop world, Wakatu is a newer variety to us here at Polly's. First released all the way back in 1988, predating even Polly's stalwart Citra. This triploid hop has a whole lot going for it, with parentage of Hallertau Mittelfeuer and New Zealand male hop plant. It carries all those wonderful noble characteristics, but with punchy fresh lime notes offset with a little vanilla sweetness to boot. Oh. So yes, there we have it. Quite a light lemony pale colour. Certainly has a bit of crispness about it. I do see what they mean about that noble hop character. It has got like a lager hop note, but it's you know, it's yeah. I probably wouldn't have noticed it had I not read out the bump. But yeah, a limey citrusiness. A little bit of a sharp twang. A lighter body feel. I think this is a more refreshing. You could session this, I think. Which I haven't said about any of the Polly's beers yet, I don't think. We could go in an afternoon drinking these. It's got a good sort of crisp, dry finish to it. And it's got a lovely fruity flavour. I'd say florally. I didn't think I was going to like this one as much because it's one of those cliches, and because it's just called a pale ale. You think it's going to be dull. You think it's going to be dull nowadays. Oh, it's not a triple, deeper, pick me up and sweeter, crappy, shitty thing. You know, it's because it hasn't got all those funny little letters. You know, you think, oh, pale ale is going to be dull, but it's bloody modern brewing. It's infectious. But yes, Wakatu is actually very pleasant. It's like a pale ale lager, but not a lager. It has some refreshment and the finish of the lager, but with the lovely flavours and enjoyability of a pale ale. Woo! It's really very gluggable. And I think as well, it being a slightly thinner mouthfeel, it just makes this a beer to disappear because you can drink it. That's very good. Moving on, we have Abstractor, a pale ale at 5.5%. Brew 1, Cashmere, Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe, Strata and Talus. There's a few hops in this. Let's read the bump. Let's have a look. Okay, we're pretty settled and happy with our position as a modern day juice slinger here at Polly's. That's actually a very accurate description of them. A standpoint we made when we first started up almost 6 years ago as a two-man setup to focus our expertise on a narrow number of styles rather than being a moderate at many, has borne fruit and we're now considered amongst the brightest and best in the UK today for the styles we brew. Very true, actually. Now that we've learned the wonderful complexities of the hops we use, we thought, why not combine 7, yes, you read that right, 7 of our favourite hops into a positively bursting with flavour pale ale. Abstractor does this, and with gusto. An insane lineup of Brew 1, Cashmere, Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe, Strata and Talus make up a cocktail of insane, sweet, juicy, tropical flavour backed with herbal complexity that only this combination of the best the US has to offer could create. Mind-blowing. Well, I'll be the judge of that, darlings. But yes, they've packed a lot of hops in that. Mm. It made a very. Wait, it's not one up. It made a very juicy beer there. Sort of sweet fruitiness to it, and it's just bursting with sort of citrus, tropical, light, fresh, just really pleasant hoppy notes. It's just so juicy. There is a sort of a tangy sort of citrus zestiness, like a grapefruit zesty, orange zest, lemon zest. But then it's sort of that's the upper sort of notes, and then you have a good bloody hoppy, fruity, juicy base. It's a nice sort of light, easy drinking beer. There's a lot going on in that, and it's very refreshing. Like that, that's gone. Well, a bit of hop crack on the bottom, but still. That was really nice. That was really nice. It's just juicy and tasty and not too sweet and not too bitter, and just... That was very good. As you can tell. I'm gonna get another beer now, haven't I? Oh dear, it's going a bit silly. And so we move on to Ode. An India Pale Ale at 6.9%. Interesting how they just call it an Indian Pale Ale. Brew One, Citra and Columbus. Nice artwork. It says here, let's see. We often express how much we love to pay homage to the brewers of yesteryear here at Polly's, without whom we, or our contemporaries alike, would exist as we do. At the same time, we love firmly expressing how much we love embracing our status as a very much modern brewery, producing the hop-forward style so popular today. Ode is our literal address to the old school and new school brewing, and our love of embracing the two in our beers. Chinook? Chinook? Chinook firmly represents the old school, being generously used in the whirlpool to impart delicious piney bitterness. Citra rocks up as the modern classic in the dry hop, bringing a wave of juicy citrus notes, and the future is handily dealt with by Brew One and its incredible intense pineapple characteristics. Isn't that funny? The description says there's Chinook in there, but the can says there's Columbus in there. And the picture says there's Columbus in there as well. How curious. Oh well, whatever. Right. Let's go in. Let's dive in the séance. That's what they call a Belgian dip. Right. That's on the quite bitter side. Quite a sweet forefront. 6.9%. Quite a sweet forefront. And a big old bitter finish. definite sort of pineapple-y, resiny bitterness. A sweet, fruity, citrusy note, orangey note, and a sort of background pineapple-iness. Very fresh and sort of airy tasting, but with a dank finish to it. It's nice, but perhaps not as nice as some of the previous ones I've had. Whereas the previous drink I drank in like 3 minutes, this one I'll probably spend a bit more time on, just because it's a bit bolder. It just needs to be, you know, gently matured and manicured in the glass. I think I might be talking bollocks now. I've only got one left, so shall we finish the Essentials pack tonight? I think we might do. But yes, it's a good beer. As I say, it's very old school. It has got a lot of resiny, dank, bitter notes to it. With a bit of sweet, citrusy, pineapple-ness to counteract that. Yes, you know, it's nice, but yeah, it's nice. So on to the last beer from the Essentials pack. Neither odd nor even, a pale ale coming in at 5.6%. Columbus Citra Enigma and Simcoe. Let's read the information, shall we? So it says, anybody who has followed the brewery long enough will know we love to smash together previous hop combinations from our dearly departed originals range and create modern day Frankenstein together bangers. Citra and Columbus always has a special place in our heart after a particularly memorable after-work sampling session held by Sean and Aaron, and we were huge fans of the original version of Enigma Simcoe IPA, so much so that we carried it over to the Augment range that now holds the brewery up. Smashing the two together and reading back the ABV to a more sessionable 5.6, we created a pale ale that brings a swag bag of stone fruit, mango, peach and tangerine notes to the party, with just a little grassy bitterness to boot. So there we go. Yeah, I know what they mean by grassy bitterness. Sort of quite a dull bitterness at the end. Not dull when I say dull as uninteresting, but dull as in smooth? I don't know. Stone fruits. Yeah, I'm getting a bit of stone fruit there, sort of sweet peachy notes. Bit of sort of tangerine-y orangeness as well, citrusy notes. Yeah. It's probably, I would say it's the least favourite. It's probably not, when I say least favourite, probably not the most exciting of the ones I've had. It's still very well executed. You know, it's still a very high quality, hazy, pale, hoppy beer. But all the flavours are fairly mellow, and there's no sort of distinctive punch like you've had with some of the previous beers from the range. So, you know, it's enjoyable enough, but I preferred the others I've had. Not to detract the fact that it's a very well made beer. Neither odd nor even. Neither here nor there. So that is that. I've reached the end of my Essentials mix box. I still have about a dozen or so tins to try. As I said, I did go a little bit mad in their last sale and buy an awful lot of beer. You do get one more Brucey bonus, which is Wildflower. which is a Pilsner. Now, I've not done a lager of theirs yet, so I thought it would be rude not to do it. So it's a 5.1% Pilsner, Ella and Mosaic, lovely floral tin. It's actually a clear beer, nearly, mostly. So it only has a good crisp dryness to it. I couldn't find any spiel on their website about this beer. And yeah, I'll not be able to find any particular information about this, but it's a very tasty. It's like an IPL, really. You know, it's a it has that crisp, fresh dryness, refreshing flavour of a lager with a nice sort of citrusy resin, tropical hoppiness and bitter finish. Yeah, they've created a lager, has a crisp dryness, a bit of a dank bitterness to it, and some lighter citrusy notes to accompany it. So yes, end of my journey with Polly's, as all the trains decided to come past at the same time. Every beer of theirs have been top notch. You know, I can still safely say after all those beers, I've not had a bad beer from Polly's. They've all been a step above. You know, if there's the normal level of IPAs, modern style IPAs, hazies, what's not, Polly's have always been a step above. They've found their market and they've gone with it. They can produce hazy pale ales, IPLs, DPs, whatever you want to call them. They can do them with aplomb. You know, they're the masters in that category. I say, yeah, they really are quite extraordinary, actually. I've enjoyed them. I really have enjoyed them. It's been a pleasure to drink them. The only thing I'd say against them is that their beers are a bit samey because they follow a trend. You know, they follow a hazy, sort of thick-bodied, very fruity, well-balanced, bittered beer. But all their beers are like that. There'll be also there's different flavours, you know, from the different hops they use, but they have a formula, and all of their beers are like it. You know, the West Coast obviously were a lot bitterer, more bitterer. They were more bitter, and you know, they were different from like the New England style beers. But yeah, they all follow the trend and the pattern. And although I've smashed back quite a few in each little mini session I've had, they do sort of run out of things to say about them because they are quite similar. You know, they'd have obviously different ratios of flavour and all that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, you know, how much can you talk about hoppy hazy beers and sort of differentiate what you say about them? They say have a formula, they stick to it, they do hoppy pale ales very well. That's all they really do. There's nothing wrong with that either because they do it so well, but it does make for a rather monotonous style video, perhaps looking at a whole range of their beers. You know, when I did Elgood's, I had lots of different. I had a sour, I had stouts, I had bitters, I had milds. This one I've had hoppy pale, hoppy pale, hoppy pale, hoppy pale, hoppy IPL, hoppy DPL, hoppy chipper. You know, they're all hoppy hoppy hazy beers. This is less hazy. So, you know, it is what it is. I have enjoyed the beers. I really have enjoyed their beers. And yeah, I think Polly's, it's one of those breweries, if I see it, I will buy it because I know they're going to be a high quality beer. So yes, I think that is the end of this series. Thank you very much for watching. I know it's been another long one, even though I said I would try and reduce the length of it, but I think we did look at a few more beers than we were going to look at. Next month is Isle of Skye Brewery, and I will explain more why I've chosen that brewery in that video. So yes, thank you very much for watching, and yes, Polly's are highly recommended by moi. Au revoir.